Lost in thought, Mimehime stands on the school balcony, gazing at the lively garden where fellow students frolic and play. Intrigued, Tokyo approaches and inquires about her daydreams. She briefly mentions the upcoming test before distancing herself. In the classroom, the students are unexpectedly presented with a test, digitally delivered by their robot teacher onto their tablets. Tokyo's screen suddenly glitches, revealing a cryptic message. Do you want to go outside of the outside? Accompanied by yes and no checkboxes. Outside of the facility, Maru and Kiruko are walking the streets of a destroyed post-apocalyptic abandoned city. They come by a house that is locked, indicating that the house hasn't been looted yet. Maru and Kiruko search the abandoned house and find supplies like toilet paper, and Kiruko excitedly rushes to the toilet, saying, "Having a toilet makes all the difference, even if it doesn't work." They soon find a couple of dead bodies that died of starvation, suggesting that there is no food left to scavenge from the house. The next day, they go out to find food and some supplies when they're ambushed by thugs. A small squabble occurs, but Kiruko had a laser gun, which scares the thugs, and so Maru and Kiruko go back to their base, where Kiruko charges her gun while the thugs are unaware that the gun can't work. She also inquires about a place called Haven, and the thugs tell her about a place called Tomato Haven that they want to find. When Mimehime and Tokyo return to the facility after completing their exam, Tokyo becomes curious about how she learned about the test. Mimehime simply attributes it to intuition. This prompts Tokyo to question whether Mimehime was being truthful when she mentioned the possibility of a world existing beyond the facility and its gates. Mimehime even claims to catch glimpses of someone from the outside who bears a resemblance to Tokyo. One night, the facility's director abruptly interrupts Tokyo and inquires about his well-being. Taking the opportunity, Tokyo asks about the outside world. The director confirms his suspicions, and Tokyo reveals that it was Mimehime who initially brought up the concept of the outside world. Kiruko complains that she's tired of being constantly on the move without rest. Fortunately, they find a motel that's open and serving their guests. Kiruko asks about the two men that she's looking for, but the motel owner hasn't seen them. They check in and shower, and during dinner, the motel owner talks about a monster that lurks outside. This catches their attention, and Kiruko says she can kill it with her Kiddo beam, which she named after herself. The motel owner confuses them for being romantically involved, and an embarrassed Kiruko explains that even though Maru calls her sis, they're not biologically related, and that she was hired as his bodyguard. She adds that Maru means nothing to her, and Maru gets upset and stops speaking to her. The motel owner reloads her shotgun while in her futon, and a large crow-like monster appears on her window and screams. The beast is sitting outside the window when Kiruko unexpectedly wakes up in the middle of the night. She and Maru quickly get their special laser gun and leave the motel to kill the beast. They run into the hotel manager, who's armed as well, and she tells them to stay inside to be safe. Kiruko and Maru continue looking for the Maneater in spite of the warning and ultimately find it. They engage it in a prolonged battle and withstand several close-ranged assaults. While Kiruko hides so she may shoot the Maneater while it's not looking at her, Maru makes an effort to catch the Maneater's attention. The manager leaps on Kiruko and orders the beast to go just as she's ready to shoot said Maneater. She confesses that the Maneater means no harm, since her son has been devoured by it, and he's inside the body of the animal. Kiruko believes her when she sees the two of them communicating, but suddenly the monster's whip lashes out and slices off the woman's head, and then cuts her body in half. Seeing this, Maru runs towards the monster in a last attempt to finish it off and kills it instantly. Dude has some pretty cool powers. Maru and Kiruko paddle across the river to the other side of the city. Maru tells her that if he was a crocodile, he'd eat her first. Man's got riz. Maru reveals that he was told to go to a place called Haven, and to find another boy that looks like him, and to give him an injection. They find a rogue group of people living on a farm according to old ways, and tell them that this could be a place they're looking for. However, Maru's lookalike is not there, so Maru and Kiruko leave by ship. On the ship, Maru confesses he has feelings for Kiruko, but she tells him that even though she has the body of a woman, her mind is of a man. Kiruko used to earn a living from the electro kart racing business about 5 years ago. She was a well-liked racer who consistently won events. Haruki, her younger brother, was cornered during one of the races and on the verge of being beaten up by a thug when a man called Robin intervened. This is the same Robin that Kiruko is looking for. Haruki looks up to Robin, and Robin is overprotective of Haruki because he lost a sister his age in the apocalypse. One night while they were asleep, Haruki and Kiruko heard a disturbance outside and discovered that Robin and others were searching the area for a Maneater who had been spotted. Haruki walked outside, ignoring Robin's advice to stay indoors, and used a weapon to kill the Maneater. Robin was understandably furious because Haruki disobeyed him. Haruki noticed an invisible Maneater walking on the road during a race. He went after it so he could save his sister and the others from danger, but when he finally faced it, Haruki was helpless because his weapon was useless against the Maneater. Kiruko reached where Haruki was and rushed towards him, sending the others back for help. She tried to save him from the Maneater, but he was already half consumed when she managed to free him. Miraculously, Haruki survives the attack, but when he regains consciousness, he realizes he's not in his own body, but his sister's instead. The doctors think that Kiruko is in shock at her brother's death, which is why she believes she is him. However, the doctor that bought them and performed the surgery has left. 4 months after initially coming to his senses, Haruki's quest for truth ultimately takes him to the Asakusa Race Association headquarters. He wants to know the truth behind the unusual incident that occurred to him. He asks about Robin's location there, but is horrified to find that he was killed back in September. He also learns that his old orphanage was relocated to a different city soon after Kiruko's passing, when he goes back to it. As soon as Haruki realized that there was no proof of Robin's demise, he starts to search for him, and the doctor, who's the only person who knows how the switch-up happened. And talk about a plot twist of a backstory, right? When Haruki was finished telling the story, Maru can hardly believe what he has heard, and is suspicious that he's being deceived. But Haruki's convinced. Suddenly they hear someone sobbing and go to investigate and discover a large Maneater staring back at them from outside the boat. Kiruko hurries to the captain's cabin to request that he accelerate the ships as Maru and Kiruko come face to face with the huge Maneater. Even though the ship is traveling at peak speed, it's still 30 minutes from the coast, so the locals will need to find a way to deal with the Maneater in the interim. Maru and Kiruko initially barricade themselves in a chamber with the crew and captain of the ship, hoping that the doors will keep them secure until they reach the land. However, they quickly come to a realization that they cannot put their life in the hands of the doors. Kiruko remembers that the Maneater has suction cup hands and a suit of water enveloping its body. The crew downstairs appears offended and reluctant to let her escape when she asks the captain for the keys to the doors. However, given the urgency of the circumstance, the captain says that the door is unlocked. In order to attract the Maneater's attention and successfully direct it to the downstairs room, Kiruko and Maru leave the safety of the room. Maru then kills it with his Maru touch, because they don't have their laser gun. The crew members thank them as they get to shore, and Kiruko asks about the bird and discovers that Mitsuba is the owner of it. They come to a rundown building where they spend the night without realizing it's Mitsuba Home Center. Meanwhile, Kaku takes Tokyo to the facility she's been talking about to show her the babies. They go there through a vent in the walls and they enter a room with incubators with unusual looking inhumane babies. An alarm goes off and the adults inside the facilities clamor to see what has happened. However, the cameras don't detect Tokyo, so she and Kaku escape. While they're escaping, one of the weird babies calls out Tokyo's name, as if this scene couldn't get any creepier. Back at the school, children have started to grow romantic feelings for one another, and this all looks very strange to Tokyo. When her friend Taro unexpectedly kisses her one day while they're talking, she flees, unsure of how she feels. She is observed by Kana, who reassures her that it's natural to be discovering one's sexuality and that one day she too will want to touch and be touched. Kona responds that he would also like to be Tokyo's partner when she confesses that she wants that person to be Kona. You know, don't we all wish love was that easy in real life? Later on that day, unable to contain her joy, Tokyo returns to her room. Her joy, though, is just fleeting, since she receives a special announcement. She's informed that Taro's health has unexpectedly changed, and that he needs to speak with her. Without knowing what to anticipate, Tokyo goes to meet Taro. Taro requests that the medical staff leave so that they can have some privacy. He expresses regret for kissing her without taking into account her feelings. He then warns her that he won't be getting better, and the institution is dangerous and she should run away. Morris tells Kiruko the story of his childhood. He used to live in a spacious room with other kids like him. None of them had any relatives and were cared for by adults. When the place is closed down, Maru was separated from the other kids, but his group leader was killed in a gang war. Then Maru became part of a gang until he got older and then was recruited by Makura, who taught him how to use his powers and told him he had to find heaven. Maru runs into a bunch of thugs at the gaming arcade who beat him up because he asked them if they'd ever liked a girl who turned out to be a boy. I'm assuming we've all been there, totally normal situation. He beats up the thugs and goes back to where he and Kiruko are staying. Later, Kiruko overhears the thugs talking about the Ministry of Reconstruction, a group that was rumored to have been on a mission to restore society to its original state. Kiruko comes back to their hotel and finds Maru missing. She panics and starts screaming for him, but it turns out he was in the other room using adult magazines. This doesn't need any more explanation. For the sake of my monetization, the two of them hug and realize they've gotten rather close. Back at school, Taro passes away because of his illness. They have him cremated and buried next to another student, Asura, who committed suicide because she couldn't handle her own mind. One of the doctors confesses that the children are in danger because they're built to be immune to everything, so they shouldn't be getting infected by disease. Tokyo throws up in the bathroom and gets scared, wondering if she's also caught the disease. A strange man shows up in Maru and Kiruko's room. He tells them that he was with them on the ship and he needs protection to go to a place called the Immortal Order. He claims there's a doctor there that can join Maneater parts with human beings and keep you alive forever. Kiruko thinks that this is the same doctor who must have performed the surgery on her and sets out to find him. At the facility, the doctors find a strange black organism that resembles a beetle from Taro's body after he got cremated. Maru and Kiruko search for clean water and follow the map to a dim basement. Water pools on the floor, revealing two injured bodies. Mistaking a bear for a monster, Maru's powers fail. They seek safety in a tower, but Kiruko drops her laser gun battery, teasing Maru that she'll let him touch her boobs if he retrieves it. I completely understand Maru's decision to risk his life to touch boobs. They end up killing the bear because the laser gun works. Kiruko jokes that she was sure it would fire because it was charged up with Maru's horny energy. They go back to the motel where Maru asks Kiruko to keep her promise. She freaks out and tries to back off, but Maru jumps on her, opening her jacket. Right then, Totori, the hotel owner, a girl who's about their age, barges in and takes Maru away to the other room. She locks the door and pushes Maru onto the bed, taking her clothes off. She forces herself on Maru and he tries to push her away, but while his hand is on her boob, he feels his power getting activated. He screams for Kiruko, who rushes in thinking something bad has happened, but finds the two of them naked in a compromising position. Maru and Kiruko apologize to her and she explains that she has lived her entire life as an orphan and knows no other way. Maru and Kiruko leave the motel the next morning and resume their mission. Tokyo is told that there is no disease detected in her body. She wakes up from a bad dream where she sees Asura, and then her body is covered by a red infection. Maru and Kiruko create a sign to promote their service of eliminating man-eaters while searching for the Immortal Order's base. Unfortunately, the sign doesn't catch anyone's attention. They camp on the road for the night but are soon discovered by members of the Immortal Order. The incident is reported by the mysterious Dr. Usami, who then orders his people to bring Maru and Kiruko to him. Maru and Kiruko are taken to a rundown cafe by some people before the people from the Order reach them. To their surprise, the cafe serves as the base for a group called Livyumen, which strongly opposes the Immortal Order. They meet Mizuhashi, the leader of Livyumen, who had her leg amputated and replaced with a prosthetic at the Immortal Order when she was there to get it treated. Livyumen holds Usami responsible for the inhumane experiments conducted there. Mizuhashi shares her horrifying experience of encountering a dismembered human body kept barely alive by numerous machines. She reveals that the Immortal Order is hiding a man-eater in their facility, and tasks Maru and Kiruko with killing it. The next day, Mizuhashi delivers a powerful speech against the machines, throws away her prosthetic leg, and leads a protest outside the Order's building. This distraction allows Maru and Kiruko to infiltrate the facility in search of the man-eater. In the well-lit basement, they initially find no man-eaters, causing them to suspect that they were set up. However, their relief comes when they discover a small, dormant man-eater, leading them to an even larger dormant one. Suddenly, active man-eaters ambush them, with the ability to phase through walls. Maru is incapacitated, while Kiruko loses her arm and foot. In her desperate state, she calls for Robin's help, but Maru wakes her from the nightmare with a kiss. It turns out that everything following their encounter with the big man-eater was Kiruko's nightmare. Maru defeats the remaining man-eaters after awakening from her nightmare. He tries to go in for another kiss, but gets denied. A mysterious eye-patch-wearing man appears and requests their assistance in killing someone. When they ask him about Usami, he claims to be him. During the heated protest, an attendee throws a rock at people from the Order who retaliate by throwing it back. Mizuhashi, while trying to dodge said rock, loses her balance and injures her head. Absolutely no way this would really happen. The protest is called off and the members of Livyumen return to their base. There, they receive the news of their leader's tragic death, motivating them to take up arms. Usami leads Maru and Kiruko to a room where they discover the dismembered woman named Hoshio, kept alive by machines. Usami explains that turning off the machines would turn her into a man-eater. so they can't kill her that way. The purpose of her dismemberment was to slow down the progression of her illness. Usami asks Maru to use the same method he used to kill the Maneater to end Hoshio's life while she was still human. Maru confirms his ability to do so, but wants to obtain Hoshio's consent first. Using a tablet, Hoshio communicates her desire to see the sky one last time before dying. The three of them help her move outside the room, under the open sky. In a fit of rage, Libyuman members storm the Order's building, intending to kill. Maru, despite feeling hesitant, finds the courage to destroy the core inside Hoshio, allowing her to die as a human. Hoshio leaves a heartfelt message on her tablet, expressing gratitude to Usami for everything he did for her, including giving her his eye. Upon reading her message, Usami breaks down in tears. Everyone at the Order evacuates the building, including Maru, Kiruko, and Usami. Usami informs his men that Hoshio has passed away and instructs them and the wounded to find shelter elsewhere while he attends Hoshio's burial. Kiruko shows the gathered people 2 pictures she carries and asks if they recognize the individuals. While no one recognizes the doctor, many recognize Robin as Dr. Inazaki, who had been studying Usami's techniques and left one day without any explanation. While waiting for Usami to discuss Robin, Maru and Kiruko hear a loud noise. They rush to the rooftop and discover that Usami has shot himself in the head. Guess you could say it's Hoshi over for him now. Maru blames himself for not being able to save anyone, but Kiruko reassures him that his actions in killing man-eaters save countless lives. Mimihime has a dream where she's scared in a dark cave, but someone saves her and fills that cave with light. When asked why she's smiling, she says it was a happy dream, though she can't remember the details. Asura, one of the children at the nursery, looks different, resembling an alien, and possesses special abilities like healing. Asura shares a close bond with Kona. One night, Asura enters Kona's room and turns off the candles, bidding farewell to Kona. They tell Kona how they finally understand the purpose of being born. Shockingly, Asura then flies up to the ceiling and hangs themselves, while Kona comes chasing after her. It got dark very quickly. Aoshima, a doctor at the nursery, notices something concerning Tokyo and requests her to come in for a checkup. Another day, Mimihime, while gazing at the ceiling, sees the silhouette of Asura where they hanged themselves, but no one else can see it. Tokyo is taken in for further examination. Maru and Kiruko discover a button bearing the same logo as Kiruko's gun on Usami's corpse. In search of more clues, they decide to visit Usami's birth town. However, an earthquake strikes and causes the building to collapse. They venture into the wreckage and come across an information broker named Juichi. Hoping to uncover information about the people Kiruko is looking for and the logo, they purchase some information from him. Unfortunately, Juichi wastes their time with irrelevant stories. One of the stories Juichi shares is about a town where women enslave men and use them as breeding pigs to bear more daughters. He recounts how he impregnated a woman from a couple, resulting in the birth of a boy. However, having a boy means raising him as another breeding pig. They attempt to escape, but only Juichi managed to flee. While the couple was killed and the baby's fate remains unknown, Kiruko becomes suspicious of Juichi's behavior and drives him away. Later, they discover that Juichi had been covering the logo they were searching for with his van, and it belongs to Takahara Academy. Intrigued, they investigate the building further and stumble upon a message from the director, indicating that the academy functions as a combination of a cram school and an orphanage. They learn that the academy has 2 facilities located in Ibaraki and Nara, which become their next destinations for investigation. During a meeting with the academy members, the director shocks everyone by announcing that Tokyo is pregnant. This revelation is puzzling because the students were never taught about sex, and the identity of the father remains a mystery. Maru and Kiruko find out that Juichi's breeding pig story was real and gets curious about his son. As the Ibaraki facility and the town where Juichi's son was born are nearby, they decide to tag along with Juichi. Since only women are allowed in the walled town, Juichi has Maru dress up as a girl, and this might just be the best gender-bender anime ever. Together, they enter the abandoned building in search of Juichi's son. However, their search proves fruitless as they find no trace of his son. While searching the building, they unexpectedly encounter a spider-looking man-eater, capable of freezing anything with its attacks. They narrowly avoid being frozen and manage to inflict some damage on the man-eater, but its main body escapes. Disappointed by their findings, they inform Juichi that they were unable to locate his son in the building. 2 men from the town, identified as Boar number 6 and Boar number 9, find Juichi and inform him that his child is safe and alive. Overjoyed, Juichi reunites with his son and everyone celebrates the happy reunion. However, during the night when everyone is sleeping, they're suddenly attacked by the freezing powers once again. Kiruko grabs Jugo, Juichi's son, and flees. Surprisingly, instead of getting warmer, Kiruko continues to feel the intense cold, and she ends up getting frozen. Maru quickly realizes that the baby is a Haruko and the source of the freezing attack. As Jugo regains control, the attack ceases. Back at the academy, Tokyo sends a sad voicemail to Kona, telling her about how she'll give birth soon and how much she misses him. Aoshima introduces the new 5th years to the children of the academy who will be with them. Juichi later kills boar number 9 as he was the one who alerted the town of Juichi's escape and got Jugo's mother killed. Juichi takes his son and leaves in the car. See ya, Space Cowboy. Maru and Kiruko make their way to Takahara's Ibaraki facility. They find shelter in an abandoned house, but during the night, Maru notices smoke coming from the direction of the facility. They discover a man inside the facility, and it's revealed that the man is Robin. Tokyo successfully gives birth. The director expresses her desire to create a utopia in a world filled with problems, which can only be achieved through human immortality. Not only does she want her hands on Tokyo's child, but she also reveals that it is possible to transfer one's brain into another person's body to achieve eternal life. Shockingly, she discloses her plan to use Aoshima's body without her consent to accomplish this goal. Pretty sure that's illegal, but you do you. The children are playing together when Mimehime notices a girl named Oma who is sitting alone wearing sunglasses. Concerned, Mimehime approaches her and removes the glasses. However, when she looks into Oma's eyes, Mimehime starts experiencing hallucinations related to her fear of sharp objects. She becomes overwhelmed and finds herself in the infirmary, where she talks to Kona about the occasional visions of the future she sees. After leaving the infirmary, Mimehime encounters Oma once more. Despite experiencing another hallucination triggered by Oma's eyes, this time she manages to break free from its effects. An announcement is made summoning all the kids to the pool for a test. They're thrilled to see Tokyo return and are filled with excitement. The children are instructed to choose their own path when they feel lost, leading them towards the outside of the outside. It's revealed that the kids at Takahara Academy are actually Kiruko, a name that deeply connects with their identity. Meanwhile, Sawatari is looking for Tokyo's baby, and it's revealed that Tokyo has given birth to identical twins. He marks one of the baby's feet with a circle. The children are left uncertain about the nature of the test and begin to question its purpose. A group of 5th-year students gather around Anzu, Taka, Shiro, and Mimehime and start chanting the word dangerous repeatedly. Suddenly, Mina's systems malfunction, causing panic among everyone. The chaos escalates when something crashes through the ceiling of the academy, breaking the walls as well. Maru and Kiruko stumble upon a market in Ibaraki and attempt to make a purchase. The shopkeep tells them that paper money is not accepted here and to get chips, their currency. They visit the Ministry of Reconstruction for their registration as visitors to obtain some chips. At the ministry, Kiruko shows the staff the pictures she carries and inquires about the man in them, who happens to be Robin. To her surprise, Robin is revealed to be the chief of the ministry. Kiruko seizes the opportunity to meet Robin, and Maru, understanding her longing for this moment, allows her to go alone. The attack on Takahara Academy causes a state of chaos and panic among everyone. Mimehime, Shiro, Anzu, and Taka decide to explore the large hole in the wall, leaving the younger children under the care and protection of Kona as they make their way towards the wall. Kiruko and Robin reunite after being apart for 5 years. Kiruko shares with Robin the extraordinary situation she's in, where her mind belongs to Haruki, but her body is Kiruko's, which Robin finds hard to believe. She also recounts her encounter with Usami. Meanwhile, Maru worries about Kiruko's well-being without her Kiru beam. Mimehime and her group successfully make their way out of the academy, finally stepping outside and being greeted by a vast blue sky. Taka, Anzu, Shiro, and Mimehime make it outside and wonder what the test actually is about. They walk for a bit, but Mimehime wants to go back and inform the other kids about the outside. Shiro follows her as well. Aoshima wants to return one of his babies to Tokyo, and the one without the circle mark is given to her. Aoshima mentions how she'll execute the Noah project once she confirms the safety of the children. Maru wonders about Kiruko's safety and heads to the plant. The guards try to stop Maru, but he makes quick work of them. Kiruko is traumatized and sees a memory of Kiruko, thinking that her memories are still somewhere lingering in her body. Just as she calls Maru for help, he opens the door behind her and sees her undressed and her hands tied up. Maru immediately knows that Robin is the one who did all that to Kiruko. Robin tries to open up a locked door but fails to do so and is concerned by Maru. He snaps his clobbers down on Robin with full force until he falls unconscious. Get that man. Sawatari finds Tokyo and reveals to her that the thing they took outside of her body was actually her and Kona's child. They decide to let Kona know about this as well, but the director blocks their way, and a apparently she can walk. She demands Tokyo's baby. The director orders Mina to take the baby away from Tokyo, but her eyes glow blue, and she activates some sort of self-defense mechanism by covering herself with some sort of flesh or frozen blood, which fends off the director. Mimihime and Shiro try to head back, but get lost. While trying to make their way back to school, Mimihime falls off a cliff, but Shiro jumps to save her. They both get injured, and Mimihime asks Shiro why he would go through such lengths to save her, which Shiro replies that he loves Mimihime and wants to protect her. Mimihime takes a button off her shirt and gives it to Shiro, hinting that Usami and Hoshio were actually them. Kiruko tells Maru to stop and not kill Robin. It takes all Maru has not to kill him, but he lets him go. When Kiruko is crying at the riverbank, Maru confesses to her that the one he loves is not Haruki or Kiruko, but is actually Kiruko. He also mentions that he wouldn't have come this far if it weren't for Kiruko. Kiruko rips the photo of Robin, as she had done what she wanted to do. Some people come to investigate the plant. They find no signs of Robin, but find his keys and the locked door she was trying to get open while running away from Maru. They open the door and find a Maneater connected to the severed limbs of a body. Maru and Kiruko continue their journey in the Kirukomaru 2. Taka, Anzu, Shiro, and Mimihime are shown in a motorboat heading towards a modern city, confirming that the great disaster had not happened yet. It's not Kiruko over yet, guys, so we might get a season 2. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.